All right, everybody, CollisionWorks here. Welcome back to another Patriots guide. Today, boys, we're going to be breaking down trips tight end. Now, this is not my primary offense, but in certain games where we are running our U-trips guide, if we're getting bagged, sometimes we got to change it up. And in those scenarios, I'm going to go to trips tight end. I feel like it's kind of gotten to the point where I feel like I have some good plays in here to show you all. I wanted to get this video out sooner, but going through my editing, I felt like the video I had honestly kind of sucked. And we've learned some things from using this in our ladders matches throughout the weekend. So I thought, let's redo this video and show you guys what I think is the best plays in this offense right now. So we're going to be covering man coverage first, and I will not be covering pass protection yet. That will come sooner. I just don't have enough time fully in this playbook to break down every blitz. So, but don't worry, that will be coming soon. So in the meantime, I hope that the pass protection guide we did with U-trips will help in the meantime. But until then, just please be patient with me. So, man coverage first. These are going to be the plays we're going to be discussing today. If you guys want to set them in your audibles, if you guys are labbing right now, feel free to do so. We're going to be covering Pat's Y post. We're going to be covering PA counter go. We can do curl flat or double end sail. These plays are kind of similar to me, but we'll like freestyle one of them and show you guys what we like to do. So now for this guide, we're just going to be going up against Overstorm Brave, just a simple 0-6 man heat. So let's get started. Alrighty, gentlemen. So our adjustments here. Immediately, we are going to zig our slot receiver Y, and we're going to drag our X receiver. You can leave him on the in route if you'd like, but this is all preference. I like to put him on a drag. So our first read here is always going to be the tight end. If we don't see that there's safety help over the top, we can freeform this down the middle, get a great rack animation, try and get 6. Really good post. One thing I will mention before we get into the other reads is if you do block your running back, I know I said I wouldn't cover pass protection, but if you do block your running back, just know the free safety assigned to him will drop back into a middle third. So I'm going to block my running back here. I'll snap it and watch Ed read. He starts to float to the middle of the field. Not saying you can't always throw this. You can kind of free form it underneath and still catch it, but just know there is a possibility that that safety will kind of be in the area playing you. So just keep that in mind, but sometimes you can still sling it just kind of more in the seam. So to move on with our other routes, if they are shaded inside, Mike Evans here, this corner route does a really good job. The only thing about this corner is I like this more so with Gunslinger. So if you guys are playing Mutt, typically a lot of us are using Gunslinger at quarterback. It's not necessary or required, rather, I should say, but really helps a lot, at least for me. But if you guys don't run it and you guys know how to throw these corners, feel free to run whatever you are comfortable with. Now, with the drag and zig, pretty much what I do is if the zig is covered, I'm throwing it to the drag and vice versa. So snap this here. I see that the zig is going to get open. Now, one thing I will like to mention is I always do that jurtle after I catch those zig routes, because as you guys see right there, the tackles, if the CPU does dive and get you, they're not very dangerous. You're never really going to fumble with that type of animation, but you're always going to get those good yards. So just keep that in mind. The zigs are really nice, as well as if the zig does get covered, you do have your drag as well. Now, unfortunately, we're getting screamed at. I'll actually block my running back for this setup. And drags this year, with Madden 24, if you have the inside positioning, it's a really good chance you're just going to come down with it. So if you can throw it kind of right in the receiver's chest, it's going to be a lot safer of a throw. So just keep that in mind. This is going to be the play art. I'll show this one more time. All right, boys, for PA counter go, I'm just going to run this against we'll stay with the 0 blitz. We'll do that. For this setup, what I like to do is I like to streak my tight end, and then I do the zig and drag combination yet again. This is something I just really like to run a lot. I think it's really good. We don't have to worry about blocking our running back on this play because none of our receivers that we're really trying to hit are going towards the middle third of the defense, so you can block your running back if you'd like. Now, for this play, I love the crosser, as my right tackle just didn't play football, so let me run this back for y'all. Like to streak my tight end, zig and drag combo, block my running back. And as we were saying, the crosser does a really good job this year at beating his man coverage. As long as you are free forming it away from the DB, you're going to have a lot of success. Just be careful if they are shading outside. If they do a shade outside, I'll show you this. Just a simple shade outside, sometimes that can cover it. But obviously we have other routes on the field that we can do if they're playing this type of defense. So this is shaded outside. He gets a little closer, and this is going to be outside coverage shade and then underneath. So outside shade and underneath. This is what that crosser is going to look like. So let me set up this play, block the running back, just like this. So this is outside and underneath shade. Yeah, we actually got over the top. I thought that an outside and underneath shade bagged the crossers. I guess it's outside and over the top. Let me do that. I'm sorry, you guys are kind of learning with me right now. I apologize, but this is going to be good information for you guys. So this is an outside and over the top shade with the crosser. I don't know. I mean, we're kind of burning them, so maybe it beats every single main coverage, but sometimes I've noticed with outside shades, it can cover it. But just keep this in mind. No matter what, just make sure you're free-forming this crossing route. And this isn't the only thing you really have to run. If they are in a zero blitz, for our second setup in PA counter go, what we're going to run here is we're going to block our tight end. We're going to put our running back on a Texas route. If we have a running back apprentice, I think this is really good for these trips offenses. In case you have to block your tight end, I think it's really good to have a tight end apprentice at your disposal. But for the rest of the setup, we're going to zig our slot receiver and we are going to zig our X receiver. Now, once we have the double zig, what we're going to do is we're going to motion our outside receiver to the other side of the field. He'll flip his zig. We snap this. We have two zigs. Can hit this one out here. We can jurtle upfield. You guys see, I'm going to drop down, but you guys see the big play potential in those zigs. And we also have our running back and we have some good protection with our tight end blocking. Now, I will say, I don't really slide my offense when I'm blocking my tight end, but you still want to ID. Now, I'll try and hit my running back here with the free form on the Texas route against a zero blitz. Guys, this is just going to be really, really good. And as well as you're not going to have your crosser here because when you block your tight end, the man assigned to him is going to drop back in a outside third. So I wouldn't bet on that crosser being open, not unless the user is usering that DB, but you also have your zig on the right side as well. So does he get open here? Actually kind of gets bagged, but obviously we have other receivers open. Sometimes the zigs are weird. They either get absolutely bagged or they're absolutely wide open. So sometimes one will get open and the other one will get bagged. So let's see. We saw the right one first. He gets pretty bagged, but what is the left one? The left one's bagged too. Damn. So just be careful. Sometimes the zigs, they're absolute money. Sometimes they're not. But Texas route gets wide open and we have really good protection by blocking our tight end. I know I wasn't going to cover pass protection, but hell, I mean, it's there. It's there for you boys. So that's kind of what I'm running for PA counter go. Now, double end sail. What you can do here is I'm kind of running this like we did our Pats Y post, except I just have a corner with the tight end. So if you want to do something like this, it is an option. Or maybe what you can do is you can put your Texas route on the field if you have one, but this is really up to you. But with the combination of the zig and the drag, this can be a really good stock play. What's nice is if you are going up against a nickel blitz, typically, like in nickel over, the free safety is who's going to be manned up against the running back. So if they're going to be using the tight end, you have your running back at least open for the first part of the play as long as they're not using your running back because the safety assigned to him is all the way across the field. So just keep that in mind. You can get a dump off and have a big play. But, you know, like I said, you can also put them on a Texas route if you have it with a combination like this. I really like the zig and drag combos. I think they're really good this year just because it's, if one, from my games, what I've noticed, if one's open, the other one's not, and if the target you're looking at is bagged, you can always hit your other guy. So just know this is an option as well. Against a quick blitz, you have your angle route. If you do get a little bit of time, you can always hit your corners by your tight end or your slot receiver B. So boys, that's going to be it for man coverage. I hope this helps. Let's get to our zone coverage beaters. All right, boys, so I'm going to be covering cover 3 to start. This is going to be without match, so we'll cover match later in the video. But for cover 3, we're going to be running double and sail. We're obviously going to be running verticals. We're going to be running PA shot wheel as our bomb play. And then let me grab my notes because I know I'm forgetting one of them. PA counter go. Right. I'm going to be using PA counter go as well. So let me get my adjustments straight and then we will get to cover 3. All right, so obviously, let's just come out starting verticals. This would be easy. I'll come out in 3-3. Let me get all my safeties out there. do a 3-3 cover 3 drop against 4 verticals. Trips on the far side. Here's our offense here. Now, obviously, quick snap. If you want, you always just put your running back here on an in route and just throw into the seam. Cover 3 is always going to get exposed by this. The CPU actually had a really good jam that pushed him to the inside of the field. But this is always just a nice little quick snap play. And you can just throw it right into the seam. Kind of want to throw it underneath so you don't get hit too hard. You can hold on to it in that empty little pocket. Another setup you can do on this is you can just drag your tight end and maybe out your running back. These are real kind of simple adjustments you can do. Might help keep that purple playing underneath. I know some people, I was doing this in the ladders a bit, you can put your B receiver on a drag, have it in route by your running back. This is fine as well. One of the setups I actually like to do is this. I like to put my wide receiver here on a check route, put my far side receiver on an out, and then I guess I can show you. Sometimes I motion out my running back. This can do really good as well if you put your tight end on an out. What we have here is the curl flat on the left side. If we see he's playing the inside of the field, we can throw our out route. And if we see him playing the sideline, we can throw the hitch. So snap this here. He's playing inside. We can bullet this to the sideline, as unfortunately we don't we don't come down with it. It hits Tyreek on the back of his head. But this can be a really solid play as well. This streak here by our running back is going to pull that outside third, get our crosser open. And we obviously have a short read with the tight end. So try and show you guys this out route again here by Hill. Sometimes you can possession it. Sometimes you can rack it and get even more yardage. I do both a lot. But to show you guys the crosser out here by our B receiver, this is really if you're just playing against someone who's running a 3-3 stock, stock 3-man rush, which honestly a lot of people do. You have this play as well. You can just freeform down to your B receiver, come down with this. If you guys have slot apprentice, I like that crosser route a lot better. It's very similar to the PA counter go. So probably should have showed you guys it out of this, but it really doesn't matter. But we can do the same setup here out of PA counter go and snap it, and I feel like this crossing route just runs a little safer. I think it's just a little more shallow. It kind of just plays a little further down rather than running towards that outside third where the streak is leading him. So PA counter go is really, really good as well. For our bomb play, we are going to put, for our bomb play, we're going to be running PA shot wheel. And our setup here is going to be, we are going to streak our inside receiver, and we are going to slant our slot. So it's going to look something like this. And then we're going to motion out our running back and put him on a comeback. Now, what's nice about this setup is the fact that, at least for me, I motion my running back out against cover 3 and cover 4. So motioning him out here for a bomb play isn't always a tell for the defense. So they will see this throughout the game. Just keep that in mind. And if the good Lord gives you enough time to throw it, obviously with bomb plays you're going to need a lot of time. We will have our deep post open over the top. I don't know why the camera did that. It looked pretty sweet. I'll show this to you all again. We're going to be streaking our B receiver, slotting our wide receiver, keeping our tight end on a block, motioning out our running back on a streak, and then putting him on a comeback after he's out there. So again, this is going to be your play art, and this is going to be without match on. So this is your play art without match on. Snap this, and again, this is really going to be if you have enough time. I know that's the thing that sucks about bombs, is you really need a lot of time. I see this more as a big chunk yardage play, not always a touchdown. It can be, but for our cover 4 bomb, that's going to be more of your touchdown play. With PA shot wheel, I definitely see this as a chunk yard play. So, and then to wrap it up, boys, we're going to be doing double in sail against cover 3. What I like to do is I like to streak my far side receiver. I like to put my slot receiver here on a out route. So this is going to be our play art. And as you guys see, if we have time in the pocket, we can go ahead and hit our corner route. You just want to make sure you're free-forming this down. So just throw this a few times with your free-form to get used to where this ball placement needs to be. As well as if it is just a stock cover 3, we can always hit our running back here in the flats if they're playing off a little bit and just get a few easy yards. But really, for this play, I'm going to be looking for that deep corner. If you are kind of afraid that the user may go and play that, just keep in mind that you can also motion your running back to the left. You can put him on a streak if you want to try and occupy that user, and then maybe, you know, just put like something short on your tight end. You can do something like this. Or if you want to put your tight end on a streak, and pull that user up the middle of the field, then put your running back on a check down. This is going to give you a nice high-low against the user. This can be really good as well, so just keep that in mind. Obviously, if the underneath is there, please take it. Be vigilant. Because with my style of play, if you guys watch me live, I'm typically always more conservative in my passing. Definitely a more West Coast style, but obviously if those bombs are there or those deep plays, we got to take them. So let's go ahead and get to cover 4 now. And yeah, hope that cover 3 was helpful for you all. Let's move on. All right, boys, now breaking down our trips tight end versus cover 4. This is just cover 4 drop, no match at a nickel 3-3. Plays we're going to be running here are going to be 4 verts. We're going to be running PA counter go, Pat's Y post, and Pat's Y in, which will be our bomb play. So just to keep it simple, we're going to come out in 4 verticals here to start. Just put your running back on an in, just a little quick play. You can always throw it in the seam here. I prefer gunslinger for this heavy passing offense, so just keep that in mind. I know you can also do something like this if you want to put a in and a drag, just to have some more stuff underneath, and you can still hit your Y down the field. But that's really it for cover 4. I just think it's always important to note it because 4 verticals can be really, really good. Now for the rest of our plays, I'm going to show you guys PA counter go here. Now we can do this setup just like we did against cover 3, where sometimes we can block our tight end or put them on an out route, just depending on what the defense is doing and how they're sending pressure. And just like we had on cover 3 with the out and the hitch, with a quarter flat, they're typically going to bolt to the sideline in a stock zone depth, so we can hit our hitch primarily against this cover 4 drop. But the only thing is with this play, you may want something on the backside, because with this crosser, I mean, if we're just being honest, that's pretty much where the user is going to follow, which is going to leave the middle of the field more exposed. So if you guys wanted to do kind of like a kind of a little something like this to get somebody back in the middle of the field to help out, so if that user follows that crosser, the middle of the field will be open. But just know with that go route by the running back, you can still use this crosser to hit the sideline. But if this middle linebacker here was following that crosser, typically this is going to be the user defender. If he followed, you know, this crosser over, we kind of have this little high-low read in the middle of the field. So, you know, if this coverage was just as it is, this DB is going to be playing this in route, and underneath is going to be wide open because this linebacker wouldn't be here. He would be playing this crosser. So that's PA counter go. Now for our bomb play, we're going to be running Pat's Y in, and I forgot to put that in my audible, so let's get to that real quick. Pat's Y in against cover 4 drop. Now the setup for our bomb is going to be to streak our slot receiver, Y, and then we are going to slant our inside receiver. Now I like to block my running back here, and I like to leave the tight end on the in route he's on. So I'll go ahead and snap this. Again, this is against a 3-man rush, and if we have time, we're going to be able to hit our X receiver down the middle of the field. Now this play has more potential to become a touchdown, but honestly guys, with these bomb plays, I really just see them as, you know, big play or, you know, big yard plays, and nothing really for a score, just to get us down the field if we can see the coverage and we have time. There is a way that you can lab this and lead a lob pass to give you an easier throw, but typically I'm just going to bullet this and just take what I know is guaranteed. So again, you're just going to streak that slot receiver, slant your inside receiver. I like to block my running back and leave my tight end on his in route, hoping that that slot and that in route will keep the user down low, and then I can go ahead and bomb this over the top. As you guys see, if you get that free form down, you are able to get more open for a touchdown, but this is really against somebody that, you know, is just kind of running just a 3-3 sending 3, which to my surprise has happened a lot more than I thought it would be. But still, if the opportunity's there, you have this play to take it. Now finally, we're just going to be covering Pat's Y post. Now the post route by our tight end is not going to be nearly as open as he was against cover 0, but I still actually like this play here against cover 4. Now for this setup, what I like to do is I like to put my running back on a hitch, and I try to do that to influence the user to stay underneath and kind of protect the running back. The rest of the play here is just going to be, you can do a streak and an out like we did earlier, or you can do a little something like this if you want, but for this play I'm going to be doing something just like this. Oh, sorry. I'll put that running back on a check. So this is kind of going to be my play against cover 4. And as you guys see, depending on how the user's playing, we can still sling this and kind of free form it. I like to free throw, excuse me, underneath, kind of like directly at 6 o'clock and let my tight end come back for it. But this is really, really good against cover 4. Obviously, our corner route's going to get open as well if they are not in match and just it's stock cover 4 drop. So love this play. So we have a few plays that we can run here against cover 4. Keeps it fresh, so that way we're not just sitting in the same exact, play call. I'll show you guys this tight end route again right here. And then I like to click on and aggressive catch that. To me, it's very important you click on and aggressive catch it. I'll show it one more time and then we'll move on here. I'll quit beating the dead horse. Just want to show you guys this is a throwable ball if you have time. So, all right, boys, let's move on to cover 2. All right, boys, for PAY, or not PAY post, gentlemen, for Pat's Y post, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be streaking our slot receiver and outing our X receiver for this play. Against the cloud flat, if that guy's leaking and playing up top, we can go ahead and hit our in route, or sorry, our out route for just easy, quick yards. But if they are shaded underneath, we can hit our corner here. I accidentally left it in a cloud flat, but I can still throw this either way. As you see, though, B on the left side of the field will get open if you have time. Here you go. Here's the play art. Gets just a stock cover 2. You can go ahead and freeform this to the left. I like the slot receiver on the streak a lot better than the outside receiver. When you put the outside receiver on a streak, if your play art looked like this, what that does is it makes the free safety play closer to the sideline, and he'll have an opportunity to either break up or pick the corner out. So if you set it up like this and have that slot corner running, that safety is going to play a lot deeper than your outside receiver playing it. Now, there obviously is advantages to having your outside receiver play for other plays, but for this, we're going to be doing the slot receiver. So just keep that in mind. And depending on what they are doing with their user, we still have our high-low in the middle of the field. So if they decide to do with their defense something like this and play like a Mabel and user this guy, I don't know why I won't show the whole play art. That must be a practice mode glitch. But if Palomalu's playing a purple over here on the left side, and we have this linebacker here playing a middle third, and the defense is using this guy, what we can do is we can play this high-low here with the running back and tight end, just like this. Now, typically what a good player is going to do is he's going to play probably that tight end until he knows he'll go to the middle third, and then he'll know his DB is playing it, and then he'll come back down to the running back. So if that's the case, can do something like this. And if we know that the user is going to play the running back, I'll go ahead and man him up. You guys will see we can go ahead and hit our tight end right underneath, just like that. I know this is kind of awkward for some reason. It's just practice mode graphic glitches. But again, this guy's going to be out in a purple. And then this guy's going to be in a middle third. And then this guy will be the user playing either the tight end or the running back. So just keep that in mind. Now, for other plays here for cover 2, what we can do is we can always just run a simple verticals. If we accidentally have a misread and we happen to pick verticals, you can always hit your wide receiver down the middle of the field late. It kind of looked a little covered there, but 4 verticals does a really good job against cover 2. Even with the far side receiver on this play, we can hit him to the sideline, something like this. Once he gets past, if they're in a stock cover 2, this is always going to be money. And if they're in a soft squat, what we can do is we can just maybe put our running back here to the flat, do a little something like this. So if they were in a soft squat, they'll come back down and play that flat. So just keep that in mind. Cover 2 can do really, really well. You also have PA counter go, which can be pretty solid. And then, boys, for PA counter go, what we can also do is we can just bring our tight end, put him on an out route. We can block our running back, drag our inside slot receiver, and then we're going to motion our outside receiver all the way over. This is going to look like the double zig play we ran, but for this, we have a high-low here on the right side and that decoy by X to go ahead and pull that deep half over. Obviously, our tight end is open, but if we do have time, we can hit this crossing route as well. So that's PA counter go. What's nice about that setup is it's going to look like our, what was it, double end sail play we did with the double zig by bringing that X receiver over. So just keep that in mind. We don't want to show too many different tells that aren't similar, or else they'll obviously have obvious tells on what we're going to run. So, boys, that was it against cover 0, cover 2, 3, and 4. Now, I just wanted to go over a few plays that you might see, different Mabel coverages and things like that. We also have a bomb play here. I'll show you guys that first before we go into Mabel coverages. So if you're going up against match, somebody's in let's just say cover 4, drop with match on. We can come out and curl flat. All we're going to do for this setup is streak our tight end and wheel our running back. So snap this. As you guys see, we're going to be able to hit our running back here. And then I'll show you guys here cover 4 quarters. Boom, right here, cover 4 quarters, match on, curl flat. I know this is a pretty rough example of cover 4 or match beaters. It's just because I don't really know match principles like I should. Still something I'm learning. But it's kind of hard to learn it this year because from everybody that does know how to run it, they say it's really busted. So I'll learn it as soon as I can. But for the meantime, these are just things that I have found inside the Madden streets that worked. But for most match beating plays, I kind of just wing it. So got to be completely honest with you guys. I'm still learning match, but those are our cover 4 match bombs. All right, boys, now going up against mabel coverages. Now I'm doing this with 25-yard clouds and 5 curl flats. This is just how I set mine up when I want zone drops. These are the numbers I'm running with. So we're going to come out here and cover 2, just because if I'm running mabel or things like that, I typically am coming out as cover 2 with my base. So that's what I'm going to do today to show you all. So I'm just going to come out and curl flats, or sorry, verticals, and go ahead and set this up. Now, unfortunately, there are some graphic glitches right now in MUT, so I'll try and communicate and try and put something on the screen to be able to show you guys what we're looking at here. But typically, what you might see, if we're, running double in sail all day, and we're setting our play up so we can always hit the outside, what they're going to do is they're going to be coming out with their cloud flats at 25. Now, really, really, really good players know that if you back off your cloud flats, they're actually going to play the zone depth you want them to, okay? So you're going to see that corner go back. You're going to see the right side corner go back. So that's one of your tells that these guys are going to be playing zone drops on you. They may man this guy up here to the slot, or they're going to put him in a purple to play underneath, and then they might man up this linebacker to either Y or to B. Now, let's say they man him up to Y to protect against verticals, and they man this guy up to B, which typically I feel like they might put him in a middle third playing back. So I'll do that for this breakdown, and then they'll use the tight end or the running back with this linebacker. Now, what I would recommend for something like this, because we're going up against a man look, is you can obviously run your... How can I do this? Typically against mabel, since everyone is in a zone drop, I'm typically going to try and run the ball and see what they're doing. Running it can be very effective against it. But also, if we just want to run verticals, what we can do here is if we know that this linebacker, whoever we find out that this guy is manned on, we can use our uncovered receiver as our main target. So since we know this linebacker is manned up to our slot corner, or I'm sorry, our slot receiver, we can go put this guy on a hitch, something like this, keep it super simple, maybe a Texas route combo, snap this ball, and we have this guy wide open in the pocket. So the thing about zone depths is there's still a lot of weaknesses to them. If I came out in 4 verticals here and came out with this, backed him off, and let's say they man up the B receiver, I can still run 4 verticals even though there's a man here to this guy and a middle third. These zone drops are not going to stop the seam getting open right here. So typically what I'm trying to say here is against mabels, I like to attack the seams depending on who's getting manned up. If they even man somebody up, if they're blitzing, they're not going to have enough people to man up and put into zone drop. So just try and identify the weakness. You might need to run a play that you have to end up throwing away, or maybe running the football to see what tells they're giving. But typically against a mabel, I'm going to try and run these type of hitches, run these type of seam killers. I mean, you can kind of run this. And, if I just wanted to run verticals if I wanted to run verticals here with the hitch and see what they're running, if this guy's manned up here to our B receiver, I can just snap this play if it's first down and just kind of read, all right, what's going on here? All right, there we go. We have our slot. All right, so now we know that that purple is playing that slot receiver. And even if they do something like this, if they want to put this guy in the man coverage look against Y, and then they want to put this Palomalu in the flat, they want to do something like this. Then if they man this guy up, so we have flat, man, and then another man here. This is going to have a lot of stress in the middle of the field, so we know that's an opening for us. But, it's just something we're going to have to feel out and go up against just to get used to it. And don't forget, I mean, if they're going to be having these man coverage guys here and they're just going to leave that cloud over there, we can always put Tyreek Hill here on a drag and, you know, in our running back. Like I said, they're not going to be able to have every single adjustment in the world if they're going to be blitzing as well. So it really just comes down to trying to identify what players are putting into these coverages, and they can change it up obviously, but I'm sorry if this isn't the best example, but there's so many combinations that somebody can do. Just know in a Mabel there's always going to be a soft point in the defense, and I like to take care of those with these type of seam killers or hitches to see who's manned up to who, where's the weak point, can we run the ball here, you know, or do we just try and, you know, adjust to get these weaknesses. Like I said, if they're going to be running, you know, man coverage here to B, if they're going to be putting a purple over here, you know, no one's going to be playing the drag of Tyreek Hill if this guy has to guard the tight end and the running back, you know. And if this user, you know, decides to go with the drag, so let's say we go and snap the ball and Simmons is the user and he runs to the drag here, you know, we can just hit our running back here because the purples just don't always, they're not going to be able to play absolutely everything. So I know this is kind of probably not my best work in breaking down a coverage, but the best thing I can tell you all is just to simply try to identify run plays that you don't mind giving away, just to find and gain knowledge and see what your opponent's tendencies are and how they're setting it up. A lot of people aren't always going to be changing it up like we do and how we discuss on the channel, so I'm sure there's a point where you guys can really start to dominate and get down the field. So everybody, I hope that this guide was helpful for you all. Don't forget how good the RPO is in this playbook. I'm not going to show it because, you know, it's just a run play. In practice mode, the sheds are always ridiculous, but RPO is really, really good, and it doesn't get recognized by read and react. So I'm sure I'm going to add more to this playbook because it's still very fresh to me. I've only been running it for literally 1 week, so there's still things I'm learning, but if this video was a little long, I do apologize. We just had a lot to cover, but I hope you all enjoyed and I hope you found it beneficial. Thank you all so much for the support, and I will see you guys probably soon with some type, well, I don't know if I'll be doing a pass protection video. I think I might, depending on what you guys want. If you guys let me know in the comments if you guys want to see it, we will certainly cover it. But I feel like I made some points in here that I think would be good enough in tandem with the protection video we already did. So again, everybody, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.